Hey everybody, it's the Board Game Blogger, here to review another game. This week it's The Great Pandemic. It's a great cooperative game developed by Matt Leacock, published by Zedman Games. What's really neat about this game is it's fully cooperative and everyone works together to beat the board game, so to speak. And it's really nice in that no one's going to leave with some hard feelings afterwards, you know. Sometimes it can get bitter at the end of a board game, and especially if people gang up to take out the leader. That's not going to happen with this game. It's a lot of fun. It's very easy to pick up. I've noticed even people who kind of like only play party games can get into this game just because of everyone's working together, and so you're talking, and it's very social. Some games, you sit there in silence, you're trying to think of your next move, and it's not very interactive. This game, very, very interactive, and I recommend it for almost everybody. Even party game exclusive players play this game. It's just great. The only people who might not like it are those people who are just very competitive, who, there has to be a winner and a loser and everything. Then this isn't your game. But most everybody else is going to love this. Let's take a closer look at the board and how it's played. Okay, so here's a sample start of the board. As you can see, the board's really nicely made. It's durable. I've played this game maybe 30 times with people, or lent it out to other people and they've played it, and so it really holds up well. It's a good quality board. The rules are excellent, and as I mentioned, and what I love is there's a sample turn at the back. Beautiful color rules, and there's a nice sample turn. That's, I think, just absolutely key for learning a game, and Zedman seems to always come through by providing the sample turn. So I really like the company and its dedication to the sample turn. So now the goal of the game is you and your fellow players are members of the Center for Disease Control in Atlanta, and there's these diseases just popping up and swarming over the world, and you have to travel throughout and find the cures to the different diseases and save the planet. So most people, it's a great thing. You're doing something good. You are maybe trampling over some country's sovereignty, but I think we can all do a little bit of that to save the world. That's the idea. So most people not going to have a problem with the game. If you don't really like the idea of just posing the will on different countries and accepting cures, then that might be an issue, but I think most people aren't going to have a problem with this game. You've got different actions for what you can do. We've got these great player aids that there's 4 provided, and it can tell you your different actions. So there's basic actions and then special actions. Basic actions are just how you can move around. You can fly to different cities, different places where you've built a research center which is needed to develop a cure. And you're given these action cards. So you draw 2 each turn, and might be Osaka and Ho Chi Minh, for instance. Now you need 5 of one color to develop a cure, and you can never hold more than 7 in your hand. And you can also then trade with different players. However, you have to both be in the city that's mentioned on the card in order to trade, unless you've got a special role, which creates a lot of variation to the game in that there's different roles each person can play. There's the dispatcher, there's the medic, the operations expert, and they're all pretty well balanced. The operations experts takes a lot of heat, and no one kind of wants to be him because he's kind of weak. He can just build a research center for free. But maybe if you want to play a little more challenging game, you might want to use him, because you can make the game more difficult by adding more epidemics into the deck, which increase the city's disease and increase how often disease spreads. So there's 3 different difficulties you can play on. You can play with 4 epidemics, 5 epidemics, or 6 epidemics. Let's say, you know, you can't win on 6, but you're finding it's really easy on 5. Well then, you know, maybe use the operations expert always in the game to just make it a little bit harder. Or usually it's just, we just randomly assign it. So each turn you get 4 actions to try and move around and prevent these cubes from overloading. When a 4th disease cube hits a city, it outbreaks into all surrounding areas. If you have 8 outbreaks, you can lose the game. You can also lose the game by running out of action cards if the entire pile is drawn, or if you run out of all the cubes for one color. So there's 3 ways to lose the game and only 1 way to win. So it's a little tough that way. But I really like the dynamics because you're all working together. It teaches great skills as a family. You know, I think even the traveling businessman might like this game. You know, because you could probably just play it on your own and play the different rules. If, you know, head into a different city for a conference for a day or 2, take the board game along, you know, relax at night. So it's just, it's a very versatile game. However, each turn there'd be more infections depending on how many outbreaks and how many epidemics rather have already occurred. So for instance, Seoul could have been hit, you know. Some gamer goes restaurant, eats some bad bo tang, and boom, the disease increases. So you got to be careful there. But and then you'd add a cube onto Seoul. And what makes the game difficult is each time there is one of these epidemic cards, you take all the cities that have already been hit, shuffle them, and put them back on the top of the deck. So it's the same cities who've been weakened from disease get hit over and over again, which, you know, that's what gives the edge to the game. I really recommend getting this game. You know, it's a lot of fun. Both serious gamers who want to plan out every move and discuss it can play it. It's very easy for people to pick up. You know, people with no interest in other board games, you know, and won't play any other games can get into this game just because of the community aspect of it. It's a social event. You know, and just you're talking the whole time. You know, you could even talk for a bit, come back, you know, do a move, and it's just a lot of fun. And I really recommend this game for almost anyone. And take care and have fun gaming.